If you're feeling unmotivated and there's really something that you want to achieve, but you just can't get yourself to do it, check out these 5 points that I'm going to share with you that are really going to make a difference for getting you out the door, so to speak, in what you want to do. Now, I first learned these pieces and brought them all together when I had to do something that I really wanted to do but couldn't get myself to do it. It was writing this book, which I still have, and it's just not the right time to publish. I had all of these years and experiences of how to work with young people who are struggling. And all the families that I've worked with have kept telling me how much they appreciated what I was sharing and how it was really fresh and how I've been somebody that's really made a difference for them, that it was new for them. And I kept hearing this feedback and I was like, I've got to just offer this because I can't work with everybody. So I hired someone actually to coach me on how to bring all these ideas together and all these experiences and package them in a certain way. And I found every time it was time for me to write or to put the ideas together, because everything was like very non-linear. And how do I put it together in a cohesive package that somebody could just understand? And I didn't want to do it. It was hard, it was uncomfortable, and ultimately I just wanted to avoid it. In fact, I had this experience where every time it was time for me to write, I felt like I wanted to clean my bathroom. Now, I am not someone who enjoys cleaning their bathroom, the shower, everything, right? And to be honest, now I just hire somebody to do it. But back then, it was a little more challenging to do that for a number of reasons. But it was like the thing I wanted to do the least in my life, you could say, was clean my bathroom or tidy my bathroom. But I had this urge that would come up and be like, now's a good time to clean the bathroom. And it was kind of authentic. Like I actually wanted to every time I was to write. So it was like something is at play here, right? And so I'd get really unmotivated. And I had lots of other passions at the time around like rock climbing and being outside and going into the river and stuff like that. And I would, of course, all of those things were there. But cleaning the bathroom, I was like, I must be desperate to avoid doing something that's probably really good for me if I'm wanting to clean my bathroom. So I practiced and I found these different tools on how to actually execute on this goal that I had. And I'm going to put them all together for you now. And now I have about a 40,000 word document that is ready to publish whenever I'm ready to. That's, I think, is really going to make a difference for people. And it was a huge challenge for me. And I grew a lot by achieving it, right? By getting it done. So here's what we want to do. The first thing that we want to do if you're feeling unmotivated is just say it's fine, right? It's fine that we're feeling unmotivated. Now, it may not be fine to not execute on the thing that we know we need to do, but it's fine to feel the way that we're feeling. This is absolutely the cornerstone of doing any significant, meaningful, transformational work, is not resisting the experience that we're having, right? We get really familiar with, it's okay that I'm feeling this way, and we get really familiar with, it's okay that we're feeling this way, and let the burning desire come to surface. So the two things that we want to do around it's fine, because it's also not fine, right? It's fine that we're feeling this way, but it's not okay to not take the actions that we know we need to do, right? So accept the feeling that we have around it, but also don't be complacent with the feeling. It's this very fine line between accepting an experience that we're having inside of ourselves and not letting that experience make the decisions that we know would not be that helpful. So in my case, if I would have been like, it's fine, I have this experience, and you know what? The book's not that important. Or putting all these pieces together and taking my own kind of professional offering to the next level, I don't really need to do that. Like that is not fine. Like that would not be okay. Right? So the first thing is that it's fine and it's not fine at the same thing. Second step, start small but not insignificant, right? Do some micro action that gets us moving towards the fulfillment of that goal that we have. One of the places that self-esteem originates from is from doing what we say we are going to do. With ourselves. Forget about what we say to other people around what we're going to do. If we know we make a decision to ourselves about doing something and we do it, something happens in our psychology where it's like, oh, I trust myself. And that's another one of the origin points of self-esteem. is trusting oneself, right? So we do what we say we're going to do. Now, of course, that has a larger effect when we start making commitments to other people, but firstly, just with ourselves. And then we start to see what we can achieve. In my case, I got some great coaching around how if you just write 250 words a day, then at the end of, I can't remember what it was, like 3 months, you'll have a 10,000 word essay, right? You'll have had a huge chunk of starting point of the writings that you actually wanted. Now, the cool thing about that is that when you start small and when you do small things and you actually have a burning desire to achieve that thing, then most days, I found actually about 90% of the time, I think for most people, it's about 80% of the time, you do 250 words, you're like, oh, that's easy. I can do way more than that. And I ended up writing about 500 to 1,000 words a day, which got me to this like 70,000 word behemoth of a book that I had to kind of pare down. So the second step is to start small, but not insignificant in terms of taking actions towards your goal. Number 3, feed the passion with work, and do that by becoming a little bit uncomfortable. So meaning, if we want to achieve something and we're feeling unmotivated, it's going to take facing the discomfort. And it doesn't mean that you have to feel motivated to do the thing that you want to do. Feel however you're feeling and just do it. Do something, right? Like for me, writing 250 words a day, it was sometimes just gobbledygook. Like it didn't mean anything, but I wrote 250 words. Was I going to use any of it? No. In fact, there were some times when I wrote 250 words or 500 words, I didn't use any of it. But it got me towards the next piece of writing for myself, right? So you don't have to be passionate, but feed the passion with discomfort. The more time that we spend in that uncomfortable place, in balance, of course, towards achieving our goal, the more that motivation is going to become something that's more natural and not fabricated, right? Number 4, do it with somebody else. This goes back to doing what we say we're going to do, right? Make commitments to yourself that someone else can hold you accountable with. Another piece of this is that I found for myself is having a team of support that can help me achieve this goal. Now, for me, I hired a company that had a whole bunch of professionals that helped me with the goal. We had calls that happened every week. There was like online support. I mean, there was another group of writers who were doing the same thing that I was. It was awesome. It was actually a really great experience. So doing it with somebody else, with a team that helps hold you accountable, but also supports you with the struggles that you're going through around achieving that goal, do it. Right? I've been to writing retreats. I do things with my body to create motivation, so to speak, inside of me physically. But the more that we can do it with a team, with people, and not in ourselves, that will help to increase the motivation. And then the last thing, and this is one that you probably won't hear in a lot of places, is surrender. And what I mean by that is surrender into the commitment that you've made to yourself. It's kind of like letting go of any kind of resistance that you have to pushing back against achieving the goal and surrender into it happening. I know it sounds a little bit paradoxical because surrender sometimes means inaction, but what I'm talking about is give yourself to the energy of the goal that you have created for yourself and let that bring you and pull you into action. You've got this, and all my best.